Hello and welcome to a special presentation from In the Money Media. This is our show for Haskell Preview Day at Monmouth. I'm your host, Peter Thomas Fornatale, back with you pretty far from the Brooklyn bunker. I was originally going to do this from a space I was calling the London Lair, but that didn't work out. I am at the famous Bermondsey Railway Arches at a lovely place called T2U. I would definitely check it out for all your tea and coffee needs in South London. Just steps from my favorite brewery in London, really maybe in the world, the Colonel. I was going to do the show from in there, but they had really loud music playing, and I didn't want to ask the favor for them to turn it down. Then I tried to go to a place, it seemed like fate. Monmouth Coffee, it was called, something like that. And Monmouth was in the name, but they don't have Wi-Fi. So here I am on the sidewalk with the railway arch, and I'm joined today by a man coming to us from the greatest city in the world. He's Jonathon Kinchen. What's up, JK?
PTF, I am here. I'm back in the city. It's a little warm, starting to warm up a little bit. So it's always, for a Texas guy where it gets to be 108, that's fine. But in Texas, everywhere has the AC blasting. You just get you get out of the car, you get into the building, out of the car, into the building. The city requires you to kind of be out and about a little bit. The other thing that comes with the city with the heat. Some interesting smells occasionally will pop up, but even with that, you're right, still the greatest city in the world.
Good stuff. Well, the Jersey Shore is a good place to escape from your Manhattan troubles, and a lot of people will be doing that. Get on the C Streak and head down there for some great racing action. And there's a really good opportunity, whether you're on track playing on your phone or anywhere that allows the Horse Tourneys website, because on this Monmouth card we're going to be talking about on Saturday, there's a contest. You play for $1, and you have a chance, if you're one of the top 4 finishers, to win a $1,000 seat to the Haskell Day betting challenge. So that's a fabulous opportunity. While we're talking about opportunities, probably won't help people this week by the time you're watching this video, but every Friday between now and Breeders' Cup, basically, there's an opportunity to win your way in to the Breeders' Cup betting challenge on the sister site of Horse Tourneys. That's Horse Players. I'm talking about the In the Money Horse Player Tour. Check it out, $20. House cut goes to charity. It's a regular feeder, but if you finish in the top 4 of that every week, you get entered in a playoff contest at the end of the season where the winner will get a $10,000 BCBC seat at no extra charge to said player. JK, I haven't asked you this yet. So you've been on a bit of a heater in terms of contests. Of course, you won the Monmouth Pick Your Prize contest, very prestigious. You had a big showing in the Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge. Your most famed contest achievements to this point, well, arguable. I guess somebody could point to a championship you won a few years ago, but I would say back-to-back seconds in the BCBC. How on the radar is this BCBC? I mean, are you already thinking about the BCBC with the heater you've been on in tournaments?
No, I mean, not yet. You need the summer races to fall in love with horses where you start to say, I could, that's a hill I could die on in terms of an all-in push or something like that. You need the summer and you need those fall races, but I'm definitely ready to rock. I've got one entry already that I got from Pick Your Prize. And so another one along the way somewhere, whether it be at another Monmouth contest or see what Jim Goodman's got going on in the fall or possibly even Del Mar in the summer. Yeah, well, it should be a lot of fun. I can tell you that much. She feels pretty maybe in the filly and mare turf when they bring something over here and kind of get to have that America versus Europe stand. I wouldn't be opposed to taking. I think she's pretty special. So, you start thinking about it now, but you don't get too carried away.
$1,000 Haskell Challenge. That's a contest that should be on your radar and everybody's radar in the contest world. Make sure you get involved in this Horse Tourneys contest. There's more contest action at Monmouth, too, throughout the summer. Go to monmouthpark.com. Check it out. Nobody does a better job than our man Brian Skirka when it comes to putting on a contest. Make sure you keep abreast of all the action happening there, starting with this Haskell Day qualifier on Horse Tourneys this weekend. The last 5 races of this contest are stakes races, and there's an all-stakes pick 5 and an all-stakes pick 4. Those are the races we're going to focus on this show. We'll kick it off, JK, by having a look at the original Pegasus Stakes. We go 1 mile and a 16th over that Monmouth Oval. Now, I will say straight off, I'm not sure if you noticed this, there are 3 runners in this race that are cross-entered at Delaware, so definitely make sure you take a look after scratches before you get too wedded to anything in here. I really like the 7 runner, Just a Fair Shake. I thought the trip would be great. right blend of tactical speed and finish, might back up in horizontals with runners like the 1 and the 2 who could get the right trip from off the pace. But the 7, Just a Fair Shake, was my top selection. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to use a few in here. I'm going to use a 2-3-5. And it's more the story. I think more is who I'm against, which is Kentucky Outlaw. Kentucky Outlaw is a puller. He breaks poorly. He's just naughty, right? That's what I have written right here. And eventually, as the competition gets a little bit harder, I think horses like this get exposed, right? Last time, I think we were all a little bit impressed, at least I was, with the way that he overcame all the adversity that he had in that race, but he got a slow figure. So what does that tell me? It's not that he really did anything all that great. He just happened to overcome some adversity and beat a bad group. So now he's facing a tougher group. If he pulls that same move, he's going to get beat by one of these horses, the 2 Barbadian runner, the 3 Garamond, who beat Cornucopian in that almost match race, and then Bracket Buster for Vicky Oliver. She's a sneaky one. She always, when she has a target, she might be up the board when she's a maiden and she's 30-1. But when she's got a target, she's very sneaky. 2-3-5 for me.
All right, let's move on to the 9th race on the card. We head to the turf for the Monmouth Stakes, going 1 mile and an 1/8. Chad Brown holds a very strong hand in here. I couldn't see past number 3, Redistricting, taking one of the biggest class drops in racing from a Grade 1 stake to a listed stake, beating less than 2 in the Turf Classic, 3rd race of the year. Chad Brown tearing it up down at the shore. Is it as simple as redistricting in the Monmouth Stakes?
Yeah, and a good Turf Classic too, right? I mean, I think that Spirit of St. Louis obviously is a very talented horse, multiple Grade 1 winner. He didn't run great last weekend, but you can forgive horses for the ground that they might have caught. You got Highway Robber who didn't end up running, but I think a lot of people were interested in. Merchant came back and won. Actually, the horse that won the race that basically won me the Monmouth Pick Your Prize contest. So Redistricting had some good horses in front of him, and I agree. It's a pretty significant drop. I'll use him as a single A, and I'll use the inside horse, King Max, as a backup B.
All right, so the 3 on the top line, and was it the 1 on the backup line for you?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, good stuff. We're very much aligned there. Let's go to the Grade 3 Salvatore Stakes, going 1 mile on the dirt, field of 9. This is another one where you've got a very significant favorite you got to decide what to do with in the form of Bishop's Bay for Brad Cox. And I think this is a favorite to be with, anything like the last 2. And I think this horse is just going to bury them. It's also important to note this is not some need the lead type horse. Plenty of success stalking and pouncing. Love how he uplined, going faster, pace figures getting faster on time from US throughout the race in the last start. Never added the exacta. And beyond him, the field is much of a muchness. So there is one I'll mention who I think could be interesting as a deep backup, or more likely for underneath, especially if this horse ends up going longer than the 6-1 morning line. You were talking about Vicky Oliver. I think number 2 Trademark is a little bit interesting if sneaking away at a big price. I just feel like this is a horse lately has looked like a turn back might help, though it is notable that the best race ever did come going farther at 9. But this horse has some back lines, and this is an interesting spot for a Kentucky-based runner from a trainer I respect to show up in. You were intimating similarly, Vicky Oliver doesn't win a ton of races, but this is a good trainer I've followed for a long time, and Trademark I think is worth a look, at least underneath, but Bishop's Bay going to be very, very tough to down. How do you see the Salvatore Mile?
Yeah, I'm ice cold at Bishop's Bay. Not only has he run his 2 last races will win this race, he's just shown himself to be a pretty quality horse. If you look back early in his career, he's only lost 3 times. His most recent loss, he lost to a horse called Black Powder. That's not anything that's get you very excited. But prior to that, he lost to 2 Phils, who was second in the Kentucky Derby, who is a pretty darn good horse, and Archangelo, who
better
won the
than
Belmont.
Secretariat, according to his trainer, if you remember.
I don't know about that.
He didn't literally say that, but it was close enough to get made fun of on social media. But anyway, absolutely, I digress.
But the one thing I love about this horse is the grit that Bishop's Bay showed in that Peter Pan says a lot about this horse's constitution, right? Gets into a fight against Archangelo and almost doesn't want to give it away. I think Bishop's Bay is a horse that could even progress on to be I don't know what they would do with him, if they would go maybe a cutback situation or if they would try to be a dirt mile type. But Bishop's Bay is definitely a horse I would keep on the radar if he keeps going the right direction.
Excellent. So Stone Cold there, keeping it simple, probably wise. Feels like this is the kind of pick bet, JK, as we go through it. You're not going to be looking to play this one for the minimum. Feels like a little bit more of a have it a bunch of times. Am I reading that correctly?
Pete, there's not too many multi-race wagers that I'm fine having for 50 cents. Like if I'm only going to have it for 50 cents, it's because I'm spreading too much and I don't have a strong opinion, which probably means it's a sequence I shouldn't be involved in. I'm looking for that repeat button quite often.
Yeah, especially when you have runners, feels like trustworthy favorites in the likes of redistricting and Bishop's Bay to lean on in the middle of a sequence, which continues with race number 11, Grade 3 Eatontown for the fillies and mares, going 1 mile and a 16th. JK, we'll keep it with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go here a little bit more spready. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 3, and whiskey decision. What number is the 1, 2, 3, 7. It's a little bit spreadier for me, and you could do that, based on, we don't know a lot about the one, it's a horse that comes in from Argentina, but when Chad gets these Euro shipper types, they're usually pretty good, right? You think about what he did with a horse like Uni, right? I mean, when he gets them, whoever's sending them to him, whoever's picking them out, they usually find some pretty good ones. So Maggie Go's probably pretty good. You get Flavia in there. The 2 and 3, we know who they are. Ozara is one I've always been a fan of, and congratulations to Miguel Clement on his first win last week. Also his first Grade 1 win last week after the sad and horrible passing of his father, Christoph. So keep the train running with Ozara. And then whiskey decision. Look, I think Arnaud Delacour does a great job. So this is not like I think that Chad's going to just move up this horse off of Arnaud. But what I will say is that sometimes just a change of scenery between one good barn to the next can be enough to kind of wake one up, get a better performance out of it. And Whiskey Decision has some back races that fit here. So if Chad can find that one in the right place, I think that's another one. So I'll spread here 1, 2, 3, and 7.
I'll be accused of a host fail if I don't point out that this is an unusual Chad Brown shipper coming from Argentina, not Europe. So that I'm not saying that's a bad thing. The Argentinian form looks good enough. I was going to back up with this horse, but it did. If this was a shipper from France and I knew it was like sort of the same program for finding and getting ready for the races as so many of those others, I'd have just like a little bit more confidence. Because this is kind of unfamiliar, I don't remember him with a lot of Argentinian shippers. It just adds one more unknown at what I imagine is going to be a short price. Believe me, I still like the horse, but I did think I get your approach to shipping here. One of the ones you mentioned but didn't delve into is the one that I like the best in here, though. That's number 3, 5 Towns. I just think this one's going to get a perfect trip. May or may not actually be fast enough, but I'm going to take a shot here because the trip's going to be great. Damaso should make the lead, and I think 5 Towns is just going to have a really nice path into the race following that one. And I think she might be well served, actually, going a little bit slower early, or not slower, but being farther back off the pace. I don't think she didn't look to me like a horse super comfortable up on the lead being restrained. I think at a fast pace where she can settle in mid-pack and finish, she could be seen to good effect here. So I was all about the 3, definitely going to use the 1 as well. Good cases for JK for the 2 and the 7 also in that Eatontown.
Just to be clear though, you said 5 Towns, but you said the 3. So did you mean the Motion Runner or the Clement Runner?
I said 5 Towns. I wrote it down wrong in my notes. You just saved me a very embarrassing fail. Not a host fail as much. Well, no, that would have been a host fail, but it also would have been a notes fail. Thank you for clearing that up. I'm glad somebody's looking at the numbers here. Good producing from JK. Thank you for saving me that error. Yes, 2 5 Towns and the 1. Hoping it can go 1 2 here. You had it 1 2 3 7. Good stuff. Good save. Appreciate that. Let's go on to race number 12. Lady Secret Stakes, fillies and mares, 1 mile and a 16th on the dirt. When it comes to this all stakes late pick 4, late pick 5, when it comes to the contest, how are we going to get paid?
Yeah, look, I like the 7 quite a bit in here. The 7 will be kind of my key A, but I'll use a couple of others. I'll use Occult. I'll use Into Amore, the 1 and the 4. But the 7 Majestic Oops. When they crossed the wire April 26th on America's Day at the Races, Dan Ward said, after this big win, this horse is back-to-back wins. He said, we're going to ship this horse to Monmouth, and we're going to run in all the stakes races up there. This was the plan all along. And those who aren't familiar with Dan Ward, a long-time assistant for Jerry Hollendorfer when Jerry was winning everything. Dan knows his way around. I actually saw him at Monmouth. He's there. He's hanging out. He's in the mix. I think this horse is sitting on a nice race. He's got this horse going in the right direction. So not a single A, a press A with the 7, but I'll also use the 1 and the 4 as well.
Okay, and that on the A level for the 1 and the 4 for you.
Yeah.
One you didn't mention that I'll mention. I'm spready here, but I did want to talk about the 3 Catherine Wheel. This is a horse that's sharp and in form. I think this is one also that's going to get the right kind of trip from mid-pack. I think this is going to be the kind of trip that she wants. I imagine the other Chad runner will take more money, but I thought Catherine Wheel goes with a big shot here. Interesting to me that you didn't mention her. What's your knock on Catherine Wheel?
Yeah, it's just that she has like that one race. If you look at Timeform US where she wins, she gets the 110, and look, she comes back with the 109 last time, but she had blue coated fractions early. She was 5-1 that day. She's one that, especially down at Monmouth, and you got to start getting your mind wrapped around this for the summer at Saratoga. And I'm sure some people got their mind wrapped around it last week, is that, Chad wins so many races, and the world knows that they're always, if you don't like them, this is a very weird statement. If you don't like them, they're always overbet. If you love them, they could still be a little bit overbet, but depending on what your goal is and what you're trying to accomplish, you just deal with that. You have to be diligent with the Chad situation, because you're going to waste a lot of money if you use them all because you're scared of them. You got to throw some of them out sometimes because it's a real opportunity to pick up value. And this just felt like one of those opportunities. I'm singling another Chad, right? My whole sequence is dependent on redistricting. So that's the way I play Chad. It's either all or nothing, because the middle ground to me can really get you into an equity problem.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, the way I put it is this: you're going to pay a tax. Seemingly you're going to pay a tax with Chad Brown. You've got to decide when it's worth it to pay that tax, and sometimes it's well worth it to pay that tax. But when you can avoid paying that tax, avoid paying that tax. That's the co-writer in me interpreting what you just said. Did I get it about right?
You're a legend, Pete. Maybe one day you can write. Maybe one day you can write my book.
Get a bestseller. We'll get another bestseller out there at some point. That's a goal anyway. Love it. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I was also interested in messing around. I mean, I had 1, 2, 7 as backups. I thought. I mean, you make that. There's something very contrarian in this. Up on slow paces, absolutely. Normally, I would downgrade that. I'm not convinced she isn't going to be better settling and coming from farther the way she pulled early last time. We'll see. I'm going to pay the Chad tax there. And sometimes you pay less of a Chad tax when it's the other Chad, which I think she'll be. So we'll go Oppo there in the last. But I'll say this: if you can throw that one on a ticket, I wouldn't hate that plan for you. We'll see how it plays out at Monmouth on Saturday. Will you be covering Monmouth on Saturday as part of the America's Day at the Races show?
I am. I won't be there. Someone will be there. I think maybe Richie's going. I'm remote this weekend. Austin is up, and so we're popping around. I think we're going to go to Joe Vanina's home area of the New Haven, Brantford area, and try to eat as much pizza
in your future.
Oh yeah, pizza's going down. And then Big Ron yesterday went out into the ocean and caught or found or raked a bunch of clams. So we're about to go fresh out of the ocean clams.
Oh, fantastic! I didn't know he had that club in his bag. I shouldn't have. I should have, but I didn't realize that. Oh, very, very fun. That's great. Great to have Austin there. Monmouth's going to be a big part of America's Day at the Races. At least I don't know what's happening once Saratoga starts, but I feel like these next few weeks you're going to get a ton of Monmouth on there. It's really a great product. We love it. If I wasn't here in London, I'd be down there. I've had so many annoying conflicts to keep me from getting to Monmouth this year, but I'm going to get down there in July because I love it. It's an underrated track, great contest program. Win your way into that Haskell betting challenge by finishing top 4 on horse tourneys this weekend. While you're over there, go over to horseplayers.com, play in our $20 game. Lots of fun stuff happening. Oh, did you know? We'll plug an unaffiliated sponsor, Brian Walmart. Next week, for the first time that I know of, twinspires.com, going to be doing live bankroll Ask It contests. Will you be participating?
Maybe. I love a 9 a.m. race. Maybe. Yeah, I got to see where I'm going to add in the world, but yeah, it's very possible. That's pretty cool, though. That's exciting stuff. I actually had Nick Luck on JK+1 yesterday, which I will pop up on. I'll probably pop it up Sunday evening or Monday morning, because I doubled up this weekend on accident. I had Matt Miller as well. I didn't know that I didn't realize you had her, but I didn't do much.
It's the Matt Miller media tour. I love it.
Yeah. I did more just like black type stuff. So I think we'll be clear there. But anyways, Nick Luck was rattling off horses that he liked at the end. So make sure you listen to the end of that next week to get yourself ready for
Vanessa. Well, on the In the Money Media channel, which you should all be subscribed to, by the way. And if not, you do it now. We'll wait. No, we won't wait, but we would appreciate that very much. Really helps us out, helps people find the show. As do comments, by the way. Let us know, who you like in this Monmouth sequence, what we got right, what we got wrong. We always love to hear from you, get some energetic conversations going in there. But yeah, Nick and Vanessa are going to do an Ask It 10 to follow with me tomorrow. So you can listen to that there. But obviously, you're going to want to check out that JK+1 as well. And then in terms of Ask It, on the free side of things, Stephen Bonnick will be doing daily analysis, and I think he might go crazy and try to write a line about every horse. I told him to go Nick Tamaro style. I think he might eventually do that. But anyway, it's gonna be great info. If you want to play in a cool contest and you're not across the forum, we've got you covered. Listen to what Bonnick has to say. And if you're on the In the Money Plus side, we're gonna have Rob Dove, one of the top 10 pro punters right here in the UK today, joining us on the plus side, giving his thoughts every day. InTheMoneyPodcast.com/plus if you want to check that out. So we got tons of cool stuff coming. I can't wait. I'm going to be doing a ton of TV next week. It sounds like, JK, I'll be not just the Sky gig, but I'm going to be doing some stuff on the World Feed too, working with Tom Stanley and Michelle Yu. So it should be fun. We got to get you over here for an Ask It one of these years. I don't know how we haven't done that in the last decade.
Yeah, I was gonna go. I was gonna go a couple of years ago when they had Crimson Advocate, but it was literally like a week and a half, 2 weeks after the wedding, so it was just too hard to pull off the 2 times. And then this year there was, if Bobby Flay has that, I can't remember the name of this horse he has, but 2 races ago, if she won, the plan was for us to fully plan it. She didn't win. Then she came back and didn't win again, but John Gosden decided they're still going to run, but that obviously put a wrench in the operation for the plans. So at some point in the near future, I have to get there at some point.
It would be great. It's a great time. It's some of the best racing of the year. Hopefully, the weather stays like this. This is Chamber of Commerce types. If this country was always like this, there's no way I wouldn't live here. Let's put it that way. It's like San Diego weather in Del Mar. All right, JK, I've kept you enough. I've taken enough of your Friday. Plus, I'm getting thirsty. Really appreciate having you. If you're watching on YouTube, please check out some of our other videos. There's a lot of really cool stuff. And if you're listening, we'll be back right after this.